The notice was taped to our front door with blue painter's tape before my wife had even taken our son to school. 10 days to vacate. That was written across the top in black marker. Not mailed, not handed through any formal process, just taped there, crooked, like our whole life could be peeled off the door. And the man on our porch was not a stranger. It was Ray Mercer, my wife's uncle, our landlord, and the man who told everyone that renting to us was his way of keeping family close. That morning, he did not sound like family. He looked past me into the living room, where my wife was holding our son's backpack, and said, "You've got 10 days. Don't make this ugly." I asked what he was talking about. He tapped the paper with 2 fingers. "I'm selling. Buyer wants it empty. You knew this was temporary." My wife said, "Ray, our lease runs through May." He laughed once, loud enough for the neighbor across the driveway to hear. "That lease won't help you." By noon, 3 people in my wife's family had called. Her mother told us not to embarrass Ray. Her cousin said we were being selfish. Somehow, Ray had already turned us into the problem. A break. We paid full rent every month and had never been late once. I called Ray that night and kept my voice low. "Give us 60 days, I said. "We can work with that." He said, "You should have thought about that before acting like tenants instead of family." Then he said something strange. "Check the last page you signed." I pulled our lease from the drawer under the microwave. It was 8 pages. Page 8 had all our signatures. Mine, my wife's, and Ray's. No agreement to leave in 10 days. I almost relaxed. Then Ray texted a photo. It was a 1-page document titled Move Out Addendum. Our names were typed in. At the bottom was a messy signature that looked close enough to mine to make my wife stop talking. The date said April 3rd, Ray's birthday cookout. That was when the room went quiet. Because on April 3rd, Ray had passed papers around at his house. He said they were updated emergency contacts for the property. My wife signed one, I signed one, kids were running through the hallway. I could not remember every page. That was the first place I lost ground. Then Ray sent one more message. "Try court if you want." The next morning, an attorney's office told me they could meet us, but not until Friday. Friday was 6 days away. That did not help me when a moving company parked in front of our duplex that afternoon. 2 men stood by the curb while Ray pointed at our garage like it was already empty. I stepped outside and asked what was happening. Ray smiled in front of them. "Just measuring access." "You don't have permission to enter the garage," I said. His smile dropped. "Don't be difficult, Daniel." My wife pulled our son behind her. Ray lifted his phone like he was recording me, waiting for me to become the angry tenant he had already described to everyone. That night, I almost made the wrong move. I almost yelled. I almost packed everything just to stop my wife from flinching every time a car slowed down outside. Then I saw the blue initials. They were on page 3 of the lease, beside a paragraph Ray had insisted on adding when we moved in. No change to the lease counted unless it was signed and initialed by all parties on the same document. Ray had initialed it. So had I. So had my wife. I opened Ray's photo again. The addendum had a signature at the bottom, but no initials. No wife's signature. No landlord initials. The font on our address was different too. That did not prove everything, but it gave me a door. I stopped answering the family group texts and sent Ray one message. "We need one formal meeting. Bring whatever you think we signed. I'll bring our copy. Somewhere neutral." He answered in 30 seconds. "Mediation office, Thursday. Then you're out." That was his mistake. He thought I was coming to beg. On Wednesday night, my wife found the email. It was buried under a thread Ray had sent the week we moved in. Subject line, final lease copy. 9 pages, not 8. Page 9 was a notice clause Ray had written himself. Any notice affecting possession must be delivered to both tenants and must allow not less than 60 days unless ordered by a court. There it was. His language, his signature, his initials. Below it was another line. No tenant may be removed, locked out, intimidated, or pressured by third parties without formal process. He had put that in to sound professional. I printed 3 copies. Then I called the number on the for sale sign and asked if the property was being sold as tenant occupied. The agent paused. Then she said, "Mr. Mercer told us the unit would be vacant next week." That was the second door. On Thursday morning, Ray walked into the mediation room wearing a sport coat and that soft family smile he used whenever he wanted to look reasonable. He brought my mother-in-law, his brother, and my wife's cousin. Not as legal witnesses, as pressure. Ray went first. He said the arrangement had always been temporary. He said we were using a technicality to hurt his sale. Then he slid the addendum across the table. "Daniel signed this," he said. The room turned toward me. For 1 second, it worked. My mother-in-law looked at me like I had hidden something. My wife looked down at her hands. The mediator asked, "Is that your signature?" I looked at the page. The signature was close. Not perfect. Close enough. "I signed papers at his house that night," I said. Ray leaned back. He thought I had stepped into it. Then I said, "But not that document." I opened the lease to page 3. Ray wrote this clause. No changes count without all signatures and initials on the same document. The mediator read it silently. Ray said, "That's not what that means." I handed over page 9. This is the copy Ray emailed us himself. Notices affecting possession require 60 days and formal process. No third-party pressure. No intimidation. Ray's brother muttered, "Come on, Ray." Ray snapped, "They had 10 days because they agreed." That was when I put the printed email on the table. It showed the attachment date, file name, and Ray's address. Then I handed over the addendum photo. No initials, no wife's signature, different font, and it was never included in the final lease Ray sent. The mediator looked at Ray. "Do you have the original signed addendum with both tenants' initials?" Ray's face changed. Not a collapse. Not yet. He tried the next move. "The buyer needs them out." The room went still, because he had just said the real reason out loud. I pulled out the email from the listing agent. I had not planned to use it unless he mentioned the buyer. "He listed the property as vacant while we were living there," I said, "and he told the agent we would be gone next week." Ray pointed at me. "You called my agent?" "I called the sign in my yard." That was the first time he had no quick answer. The mediator ended the session early and told Ray to speak with counsel before taking any further action. The attorney finally saw us the next morning. I brought the lease, the photo, the email, and the notice from our door. He sent Ray a letter that day. Withdraw the 10-day notice, stop contacting relatives about our tenancy, correct the listing, and preserve every version of the alleged addendum. Then he filed the complaint. Ray tried one more time. That Sunday, he called a family meeting at my mother-in-law's house to clear the air. What he wanted was one last room where he could make us look greedy before the paperwork became real. I went because my wife asked me to. Ray stood by the dining table and said, "I never threatened anybody. They twisted this whole thing." My wife looked at me. I took out one sheet. Not the whole folder, just one sheet. The attorney's letter. "Ray," I said, "tell them one thing. Did you list the unit as vacant while we were still living there?" He stared at me. His sister turned toward him. "Ray?" He called it business language. I asked again, quieter. "Did you tell them we were leaving in 10 days before we agreed to leave?" Nobody spoke. That room had protected him for years. For the first time, it made him answer. "Yes," he said, "I did." Then my mother-in-law asked the question I never expected. "Did you scare my grandson over a sale?" Ray looked at the floor. "I'm sorry," he said. Not to the room, to my wife, then to our son, who was standing in the hallway pretending not to listen. 2 weeks later, Ray withdrew the notice. The listing changed. The alleged addendum disappeared. The city opened a rental complaint. His buyer walked. We did not stay forever. I did not want my family living under a roof owned by a man who thought a signature was a weapon. But we left on our timeline. 68 days later, I carried the last box to the truck while Ray stood across the driveway, quiet for once. My son asked if we had lost the house. I looked at the duplex, then at the lease folder on the passenger seat. No, I told him. We didn't lose the house. We lost the man who thought he could scare us out of it. Then I shut the truck door and drove away before Ray could turn another lie into a conversation.
Thank you so much, guys. If you're still watching, I want to know one thing. Be honest. Would you have left or fought it like hate it? Tell me. And thanks once again for watching this fictional story. See you in the next. Thank you so much.